There are albums I admire, and there are albums I recommend. Then there are albums I love regardless of how much credit anyone else gives them. This is one of my all-time favorite albums, Blue Öyster Cult's Mirrors. And I think people have been getting it wrong for more than 40 years. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dave's Side 1. I'm Dave, your host, who believes a cleaner sound does not automatically mean a weaker album. Over here at Art of Listening Records, where every record has a story, and every story starts on side 1. Today, I'm defending an album that does not merely deserve more credit. It's one of my all-time favorites. Mirrors by Blue Öyster Cult is an album some fans consider too polished, too melodic, or too commercial. I hear something else. I hear 9 strong songs from a band proving it could be melodic without becoming ordinary. To understand the reaction to Mirrors, look at what came before it. Blue Öyster Cult had already created a run of dark, strange, and increasingly successful records. Then Don't Fear the Reaper introduced the band to a much larger audience. Spectres gave us Godzilla and another collection of songs filled with mystery, menace, and imagination. Some Enchanted Evening reinforced the band's reputation as a powerful live act. Then in 1979, Blue Öyster Cult changed producers. Sandy Pearlman was no longer behind the console. Tom Werman came in, and the difference was immediately audible. The guitars sounded sharper. The vocals sounded brighter. The choruses were pushed forward. Female backing vocals appeared on several tracks. Strings were used on In Thee. And several songs seemed designed to reach listeners who might not normally buy a Blue Öyster Cult album. Some fans heard all of that and decided the band had gone soft. But commercial production and weak songwriting are not the same thing. A clear chorus does not erase intelligence. A memorable melody does not eliminate mystery. And an album does not stop being Blue Öyster Cult simply because we can hear every part more clearly. Now let's explore this a little further with a walk down Dave's memory lane. My relationship with this album does not begin with its reputation. It begins with the music. Mirrors is one of those records that became part of the way I understand Blue Öyster Cult. I first heard or bought this album sometime in 1979, probably bought my copy at Raspberry Records or Smokey's Records, one of the record stores that I went to most frequently. The first song that really caught my attention was In Thee. I love that song. But this was not an album that gave me one song and then disappeared. I kept finding another reason to turn it over. Another melody, another guitar part, another strange lyric, another song that sounded completely different from the one before it. Over time, it did something very few records do. It moved from being an album that I liked to becoming one of my all-time favorites. The album begins with Dr. Music. It's direct, it's playful, it's built to open a show. Eric Bloom sounds completely comfortable leading a hard rock song with a large chorus, and the harmonica gives the arrangement an unexpected texture. This may be a more accessible Blue Öyster Cult, but it's not a timid one. Then the album immediately changes direction with the great son Jester. The lyrics connect Blue Öyster Cult with fantasy writer Michael Moorcock. The mood becomes larger, more theatrical, more mysterious. Anyone who says Mirrors abandoned the band's imaginative side needs to spend more time with this song. Then comes In Thee, one of Alan Lanier's most beautiful songs. Buck Dharma sings it with restraint. The strings support the emotion without overwhelming it. And this is where some listeners may have decided the album was too soft. I hear a band capable of tenderness without losing its identity. The title track Mirrors brings the energy back. It's polished, melodic, and immediately memorable. The song understands exactly what the album is doing. It uses reflection as both image and idea. What do we see? What do other people see? And how much of either image is real? Then Joe Bouchard closes the side with Moon Crazy, another change in voice, another change in personality. It feels lighter and stranger at the same time. 5 songs, multiple singers, fantasy, romance, hard rock, pop, and something slightly unbalanced beneath the surface. This is not a band becoming generic. That is Blue Öyster Cult refusing to become only one thing. Then side 2 begins with the Vigil. And this song destroys the easiest criticism of Mirrors. If the entire album were merely an attempt to produce in short radio songs, why begin the second side with a 6.5-minute Buck Dharma composition filled with tension, atmosphere, and science fiction imagery? The song builds, it shifts, it gives the guitars room, it gives the arrangement room, and it belongs completely within the adventurous Blue Öyster Cult tradition. The polish does not make the song less ambitious. It allows us to hear the ambition more clearly. I Am the Storm returns Eric Bloom to the front. The title alone sounds like Blue Öyster Cult. It has force, it has drama, and it prevents the second side from settling into one mood. Then Albert Bouchard takes the lead on You're Not the One I Was Looking For. It's short, fast, slightly sarcastic, and closer to a power pop than some fans expected from the band. But Blue Öyster Cult had always absorbed different styles. The unusual part was not that they could write something this concise. The unusual part was hearing that side of the band presented so plainly. Finally, Alan Lanier's Lonely Teardrops closes the album. Buck Dharma returns to the lead vocal. The arrangement is melodic, the backing vocals are prominent, and the album ends not with a monster, a motorcycle, or an apocalypse, but with loneliness. That emotional contrast is exactly why the record stays interesting. One reason Mirrors works for me is that it still sounds like a complete band. Eric Bloom, Buck Dharma, Alan Lanier, Joe Bouchard, and Albert Bouchard. All 5 personalities matter. Different members write, different members sing. The album does not depend on one voice or one formula. That variety was always part of Blue Öyster Cult. Mirrors did not create it. The cleaner production simply made the differences easier to recognize. Now I understand why some fans prefer the earlier records. Mirrors does not have the same shadowy production. It does not feel as dangerous as Secret Treaties. It doesn't have a huge song that became another Don't Fear the Reaper. And Tom Werman's production gives the album a sheen that not everyone wanted from Blue Öyster Cult. Those are fair observations, but they are descriptions of difference. They are not proof of failure. What the album loses in darkness, it gains in clarity, melody, and range. There's also an irony at the center of the Mirrors story. The band made a more accessible album, but it did not deliver the major commercial breakthrough the approach was meant to encourage. In Thee received some singles attention, but the album did not continue the certification success of the records immediately before it. So Mirrors became Trap. Too polished for some established fans, not successful enough to create a large new audience, and eventually too easy to dismiss. But I do not love Mirrors because it failed, and I do not love it merely because other people overlooked it. I love it because of what is in the grooves. The Great Son Jester, In Thee, Mirrors, Moon Crazy, The Vigil, songs that do not sound alike, but still sound like they belong together. The album is melodic without becoming empty, polished without becoming anonymous, accessible without giving up imagination. Mirrors is not a lesser Blue Öyster Cult album to me. It's one of the records that explains why I love the band. So on tonight's Side 1 spin, I want you to find your copy of Mirrors, and if you don't have one, find it online and listen to it. And ask yourself, does Mirrors deserve more credit? And what is the song that makes the strongest case? Is it The Great Son Jester, In Thee, Moon Crazy, The Vigil, or another track? And I want to hear from the people who do not like it too. Is the problem the songs, or is it simply that this is not the version of Blue Öyster Cult you wanted? Tell me about the song and your argument in the comments. Well, that's it for today's Side 1. Thanks for spending a little time with me, and please keep that needle in the groove, and we will talk to you tomorrow.